Welcome to Radio Havana. Do you like dancing? Want to dance with me? Go ahead. Just give a little shimmy. Except if you're driving, keep both hands on the wheel. Do not do that if you're driving. But everybody else, go ahead. You have a rough day at the office. Give a little shimmy. You'll feel better. Feel better already. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Michael, and I'm a women's photographer in New Jersey. I've been in this business for about 15 years or so. I have worked with hundreds of women through the course of my career, and we're here to answer some questions about boudoir photography. You may think it's a simple and straightforward thing. However, if you've been paying attention to the show for the past 6 months or so, you'll see that's not always the case. It can be a little difficult. Gotta do a little work. And we want everybody to have a great experience, have fun, walk away with some photos they enjoy, and be like, yeah, glad I did that. That was a good time. But, like I said, it's not as easy as you may think from the outset. So I'm here to help. Here to answer questions. So that's what we do. Take like one question every week, get into it a little bit in detail, try to help people out. So that's what we're doing this week. And just have to say one thing that a little disappointed. My birthday was this week, and I don't remember getting a card from you, nor a gift. Maybe it's just lost in the mail. Forget about me. What are you doing? Get that going. And so I had a at-home pizza party, homemade pizza party. It was nice. We had a bunch of people here, baking pizzas. I like to put a lot of garlic and olive oil in there and make everything, and it's delicious. Make my own little pizza sauce. Takes a lot of work to do that, but it's worth it. Started making my own maybe last summer or so, experimenting with a little bit, and it takes some practice. And I finally felt I got to the point where it was like good enough that I would share it with other people, so everybody had a great time. Look what I got. It's going to focus. Can't see it too much. Oh, you're back. Oh, there we go. We got Pokemon Pez. I got a Pikachu Pez right here as a gift. Didn't get your gift. Got a Pikachu Pez as a gift. I'll be eating those later. So let's get on it, people. Not slackers here. Let's get going. And today what we're going to do is get into a question. It's a little bit of an involved question. But it's a good question. And I want to appreciate the person, or I want to say thanks to the person who sent this in. And we'll get rolling here. Enough of my silliness. Is what's a common but unknown thing about boudoir photographers you feel brides should know before booking a session? Excellent question. And there probably are many things. I will give you two. And we'll really get into this, but probably an unknown thing is that your boudoir photographer has no experience. You're like, Mike, what the hell are you talking about? And one of the that I hear probably most commonly how women get, especially for a wedding, get wrangled into a photographer is, they have a coworker, and the coworker, oh, you're getting married? Yeah. Oh, my friend is a boudoir photographer. Oh, really? I was thinking about doing that. Oh, yeah, you definitely should go see her. So good. So amazing. Really. And so the coworker, gets the other coworker hooked up with the friend, boudoir session. We'll call her Janie. And what the unwitting bride-to-be doesn't realize is that Janie knows nothing about photography whatsoever. And it's like, Mike, what the hell are you talking about? Well, let me give you the typical path. Now, I'm using a bit of hyperbole here, for example, but I'm not too far off with this. And I've talked about this many times. So a lot of time, and this is why you have to do work, and this is the point of this whole show. The path to boudoirdom for a lot of photographers is, we'll use Janie as the example. She's our unfortunate example we use here all the time. Janie, MLM boss babe, girl power, was driving all her friends crazy on Instagram for the past year or so, DMing them, do you need a new business opportunity? And so everyone basically who followed her blocked her or unfollowed her because they didn't want to deal with her nonsense anymore of trying to be reeled into an MLM cult. So things not going so great for Janie. So one day Janie's out at lunch. She's at Chick-fil-A with her friend Ashley and sitting down at the table. And then Janie takes out her phone and decides to take a photo of her crispy chicken sandwich. And Ashley's like, oh my God, Janie, that's a good photo. You should be a photographer. Janie's like, you think? And about 7 days later, Janie is now calling herself a pro photographer. She goes to Amazon, buys a camera, and now she's telling everybody she's a pro. You, as the bride-to-be, just happen to be the unwitting victim of that knowledge because your coworker knows Janie and gets you hooked up with Janie, who literally knows nothing about photography, does nothing about it, has no experience, no practice, has literally been calling herself a photographer for about 2.5 weeks. And then now someone's getting you involved with her, and you didn't ask the questions. Happens more than you think. And what happens with many people who suddenly start to get it, and this isn't just women's photography, but this is all photography. One day they're doing something, the next day they're calling themselves a pro photographer, and people don't ask questions and they get involved with this. Like, Mike, what the hell are you talking about? Well, what I'm talking about is anybody can call themselves a pro. Doesn't mean they know what they're doing. This happens all the time. People get this inspiration. Yes, I'm going to go and photograph women. Well, let me put it to you this way. Like, if we were friends, I know that's not going to happen because I really don't like you that much. But let's just say, for example, that we were friends and I come to you one day, I'm like, friend, I'm a pro guitar player now. And you're like, Mike, what the hell are you talking about? You know nothing about playing a guitar. Yeah, I know, but I'm a pro now. I went down to the guitar store. I asked them for the most expensive guitar that they had. And now I'm a pro. Waiting for bands to call me, going on the road, gonna make a lot of money. And you're like, Mike, like I said, you don't even know a chord, or it takes years to learn how to, what do you mean you're a pro? That would be a little weird, right? No one does that in anything else. I can't wake up one day and call myself a pro golfer. Oh yeah, I'm going on the PGA. It doesn't work like that. You got to put practice and time, years, and work your way in there. See, photography doesn't really work that way. In the world of photography, it's very normal for one day someone to be an MLM boss babe, and the next day be calling themselves a professional photographer. Happens more than you think. And, there was a million reasons that, people think, oh, the camera does all the work. And it's not a great situation for people to get involved in because, it takes a long time to learn. And not just that, working with women is difficult. And it's not easy to practice that because there aren't just women in underwear walking all over the place that you can practice it. So it's a hard thing. It takes a long time. And not everybody's good at it. Some people, it's like anything else. Some people have a knack and, they artsy or whatever, and they're good. And other people, they find that they're not, and they kind of fade away. But I hear this often in this situation where someone gets referred to somebody. Oh, she's, and it's not that the bride is really like in a danger in like a physical danger sense. It's just most likely it's going to be a bad experience and the photos are going to be crap. It's not going to be good. So this is something that really all brides need to know. And it's very common, but sort of an unknown thing that anybody can call themselves a pro. So on the bridal front, you need to start asking some questions. How long that person has been around, how many people have they worked with, study examples of their work. Don't worry about what anybody's charging. That comes way down the line. You got to weed these people out before you even get to that part. So when your coworker is like, oh, my friend's a photographer, got to start asking some hard questions. How long? Let's see the work, and so forth and so forth. Just don't, oh, that's cute. I think, yeah, we'll use her. Big mistake. Wouldn't work that way in other areas of your life. You gotta, if you have this idea in your brain of what you want to get from your session, you gotta find someone who's good, experienced, knows what the heck they're doing. That way they can help you produce those photos in the style. You have to get this idea out of your head that just because you hold a camera makes you a great photographer, any more than me holding the most expensive golf clubs makes me Tiger Woods. But people in their brain, when it comes to taking pictures, do not make this kind of same, that's kind of a dumb thing for you to say, Mike. You definitely are not going to be Tiger Woods. I don't know anything about golf, but I have expensive clubs. Doesn't that make me a pro? So one common but unknown thing is that many photographers just have no experience and they're not good. So there you go. You just got your money's worth out of this, and we're only a few minutes in. And part 2 of this, like I said, I'll give you a bonus section for another common but unknown thing about boudoir photographers, is that all boudoir photographers are not created equal. They're all different. And again, like Mike, what the heck you're talking about? They call themselves a photographer. Photographer is a photographer. Well, where else again in life does that apply? Would you say all restaurants are the same? When you're sitting there, like getting your wedding plans ready and thinking about your caterers, are you going, Taco Bell, nice restaurant, and I want to get food for my guests? I mean, they're all the same. Why would I, go to a nice, restaurant? Well, they're all the same. I order a chalupa from Taco Bell. It's the same thing as getting, a great steak for everybody from a nice restaurant or a catering place. That's ridiculous. All restaurants are not the same. A lot of bad restaurants are out there. You've seen Kitchen Nightmares. It's a reality everywhere. People get and run restaurants. They have no idea what they're doing. And, got to be more of a critical thinker in your head. So the same thing goes with women's photographers as well. They are all not created equal. Yeah, there are good photographers and there are really bad photographers and a lot of really mediocre people like in the middle. So you have to understand that maybe even more so than restaurants, photographers are all different. And this goes for your wedding photographer, the woman who wants the baby picture, the woman who's trying to take a picture of your dog, all of this. Again, remember, low barrier to entry. Anybody can call themselves a photographer at any given moment in this country. Especially in women's photography, there's a woman holding, I'm changing lives. Yeah, but yesterday you were, it doesn't matter, I'm changing lives. And they make a website and now they're calling themselves a pro. Now what the hell they're doing. Yeah, but she's starting and support a small business. You like getting crap? Is that what you want to walk away from? You want to feed your wedding guests chalupas and give them all diarrhea? That's your prerogative. That's the way you're approaching the situation. But nobody does that, right? Nobody looks at their choices of catering their wedding and going, $2.49 for a chalupa. everybody else is a ripoff. Why would anybody go to any other restaurant ever when you could get a meal for $2.49? All these other restaurants are crazy. Are they? So you have to think, you have to adjust your way of thinking a little bit there. And keep in mind that photographers are very different. Just like everything else. Hotels are all different. You got Ritz-Carlton, you got Motel 6. Cars are all different. Got your Mercedes AMG, and you got your Yugo. Just like anything else, there are levels. And you're going to get what you pay for. And not everybody can go out and get a new Porsche 911 Carrera GT4 or whatever number they're... I get it. It's nice to look at that and go, oh my God, I'd love to have one of those. It's amazing. Everybody can't go out and do that, but they're aware that there are differences. So in photography, you very well should be aware that there are these huge differences as well. And that's why it's also not a comparative industry in photography. When you're trying to compare prices, it's as ridiculous as trying to compare the price between a used Hyundai and a new Porsche. Would you ever do that? Would you ever look at someone selling a used Hyundai for like $3,400 and walk into the Porsche dealer and go, well, you want me to buy your car? Down the road, there's one for sale for $3,400. If you want to give it to me for that, otherwise I'm going down there. They look at you and go, what the are you talking about? You can't compare like that. So in photography, it's the same thing. It's not a price comparative industry in many respects because you don't know what you're getting. There's so many variables. You cannot take the price of one person compared to not knowing any other details and start to make judgments. Just like you couldn't do that with houses. If I told you were looking to buy a house and I said, well, I got one that's $349,000 for you, and I got one that's $315,000. What's the better deal? And that's all the information you're getting. You'd be like, well, I don't know. How many bedrooms are in each house? Are they near a lake? How many stories are they? How big is the property? Where are the homes? How new are they? I need more information. It's not enough to make an informed decision just knowing the price of something, right? Like a house, you'd never do that. So why would you do that for your photography? Doesn't make sense because these things are not all the same. They're not equal. So same thing for photographers. They are not created equal. There is nothing the same about them. And it takes a lot of work, questions, investigation, talk to them. And in some cases, although I don't get this as much, there used to be asked for referrals. I want to talk to other women who have come in and worked with you. It takes work. It's the whole point of this show. We don't want people going in and assuming that everyone's the same and going with Janie when she has no idea. And I've heard like the silliest stories, like I said, at bridal shows. And I've said this again before. I don't do bridal shows anymore, but I used to do them a long time ago. And people would walk over and look at the photo books on my little table and be like, oh, I wanted my session to look like that. Well, what happened? And they would go through this story. Oh, the friend of the friend brought me to a basement. And afterwards, I couldn't even use any of the pictures. I wanted to make it as a gift, but it was so bad. And I didn't say anything to the photographer because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I just threw everything away and just hear it over and over again. Just these really poor experiences because people don't ask. Got to be a bit vigilant. Got to ask questions, especially when getting involved with a woman's photographer. Many things to ask and find out. So that way when session day comes, you have a good time, good pictures. And the idea is that when you're leaving and you're done, you're like, yeah, I love these pictures. I had fun. I had a great experience. Everything went smoothly. And I get it. Everyone's got to start somewhere. But you don't want to be the first. You don't want to be the second. You don't want to be the third. You just don't want that. Do you want to put your wedding dreams in the hands of somebody who's like, yeah, I think we'll be all right. You know, I've seen it. Watched the video on YouTube. Yeah, you probably wouldn't do that with anything else. So don't do it with your photography. Just don't. Look at me. Promise me you won't. Oh, what about you in the back? All right. All right. And that's the point of this this show. So hopefully that gives you a little bit to think about in this process. The point today is, again, very common but kind of unknown things about boudoir photographers that brides should know. And again, boudoir photographers, many of them have little to no experience that advertise themselves as pros. And number two, part B of that, is that boudoir photographers are all not the same. They're all so different that it's like shocking. So don't look at them ever as being the same. So I appreciate this question coming in today. That again is the whole point of this show, to get people thinking, to give people information. So wherever you may be, you can go out, make a smart decision, and have a good time during your session, which is exactly what we want everybody to do. So I want to thank everybody again for stopping by today. And if you have a question, this show is, I think now you can leave comments on Spotify. This is on video on Spotify, and on YouTube, you can leave a comment there. A lot of times people are just sending me a chat through my website or an email. You could send a question in if you have a question and put it in queue and get it on a future episode. So having fun doing this, answering these questions. It's helpful. Appreciate it. Like you as my audience. So I thank you for stopping by. It was a good time today. I'm going to get out. I got to go and do my shopping. Got to go to Trader Joe's. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of my week. So thank you, everybody. And I will see you next week. Thanks.